Mom emptied my college fund for my sister. Hey everyone, welcome back to Reddit Bit. Imagine this. You've worked your entire high school career for one moment, getting that acceptance letter from your dream college. The savings are in place, your future is set, and then, in a single afternoon, it all comes crashing down. Your mother tells you she's emptying your college fund, money that's been saved for 17 years, to bail out your older sister. Again, who deserves help more? The struggling adult child with 4 kids facing homelessness, or the teenager on the verge of achieving everything she's worked for? Stay with me as we unpack this family's journey through betrayal, resentment, and ultimately, an unexpected path to healing. And I guarantee it'll make you think about what you'd do if you were in Morgan's shoes. Let's dive in.
My life changed on a Tuesday afternoon in October. I remember it perfectly because I was wearing my Northwestern University sweatshirt, the one I'd bought after my campus visit last spring. The acceptance letter had arrived just a week earlier, and I was still floating on cloud 9. Morgan Parker, future Northwestern Wildcat. My best friend Zoe had squealed when I showed her the letter. "Your mom must be so proud." She was. Mom had been saving for my college funds since I was born, a miracle considering she raised me and my older sister Haley on a single nurse's salary in suburban Philadelphia. Every birthday card from Grandma included a check for the college fund, and Mom never touched a penny of it. Until that Tuesday, I knew something was wrong the moment I walked in the door. Mom was sitting at our kitchen island, her face pale, phone clutched in her hand. Her eyes were red from crying. "Haley's been evicted," she said without preamble. "She and the kids have nowhere to go." My sister Haley was 24 with 4 kids under 6. Her boyfriend Ryan worked at Target, but his hours had been cut back. Haley couldn't work steady hours because of her fibromyalgia, which got worse after her last pregnancy. They'd been struggling for years, but this time was different. The landlord's selling the building. "They have to be out by Friday," Mom explained, her voice shaking. "They need first and last month's rent plus security deposit for a new place. That's almost $4,000 they don't have." I felt a knot forming in my stomach. What about Ryan's parents? Can't they help? They're barely making ends meet themselves. Mom wouldn't meet my eyes. "Morgan, I need to talk to you about something important." And that's when she said it, the words that shattered everything. "I'm going to use your college fund to help Haley." Time seemed to stop. "What? No, you can't do that. That's my money for MY future." "It's not just the deposit," Mom continued, as if she hadn't heard me. "They need furniture, utility deposits, moving costs. It's going to be close to $15,000. $15,000. My voice rose to a shout. "That's almost half my college fund." "Mom, you promised that money was for Northwestern." "Your sister and her children will be homeless, Morgan." Mom's voice cracked. "What am I supposed to do? Let my grandchildren live in a shelter? That's not MY fault. Why is MY future being sacrificed because Haley keeps making bad choices?" The words flew out before I could stop them. Mom's face hardened. "That's not fair. Your sister is sick. She's doing the best she can. And what about me? What about my best? I've worked my butt off for that scholarship. But it doesn't cover everything, you know that. We'll figure something out." "There are loans, community colleges, community college? Are you serious right now?" I grabbed my keys from the counter. "Northwestern has the exact pre-med program I want. We've been planning this for years." "Morgan, please," but I was already out the door, tears blurring my vision as I drove to Zoe's house. By the time I returned home that night, it was done. Mom had transferred the money. 15 years of saving, gone in a single afternoon. My sister and her chaotic family would have a roof over their heads, and my future had been derailed without my consent. For 2 weeks, I barely spoke to my mother. The silence in our house was suffocating. I emailed Northwestern to defer my acceptance, making up a story about family health issues. I couldn't bear to tell them the truth, that my own mother had chosen my sister's emergency over my future. The worst part wasn't even losing the money. It was realizing that in the hierarchy of family needs, my dreams would always come second to my sister's crises. BY Thanksgiving, our house had become a minefield of unspoken resentment. Mom tried everything, making my favorite meals, leaving brochures for state colleges on my bed, even offering to take a second job. Penn State has an excellent pre-med program, she suggested during one of our rare conversations. And with your grades, you'd qualify for scholarships. That wasn't the plan, Mom, I said coldly. The plan was Northwestern. The plan was the future you promised me. Meanwhile, Haley started dropping by our house constantly with her kids, as if nothing had happened. She'd complain about her new apartment, the very apartment my future had paid for. The neighbors are so loud, she whined one evening. And there's no dishwasher. I couldn't take it anymore. At least you have an apartment, I snapped. Unlike my Northwestern education, the room went silent. Even Haley's usually rowdy kids sensed the tension. Morgan, that's enough, Mom said firmly. No, it's not enough. You stole my future to bail out Haley again, and nobody seems to care. Haley's face crumpled. I never asked for this, Morgan. Do you think I want to be sick? To struggle? To need help? You've been needing help your entire adult life. I grabbed my jacket and headed for the door. I'm staying at Zoe's tonight. As I was leaving, I heard my 5-year-old niece ask, Mommy, why is Auntie Morgan so mad? That night at Zoe's, I finally broke down completely. Between sobs, I told her everything, not just about the money, but about years of Haley's emergencies always taking priority. You know what hurts the most? I whispered. Mom keeps saying she had no choice. But she did. She chose Haley over me. She always has. Zoe's dad, a financial advisor, overheard us talking. He knocked gently on the bedroom door. Morgan, I couldn't help overhearing, he said, sitting on the edge of the bed. There are other options besides expensive private schools. Have you looked into state universities? Or applying for additional scholarships? I had scholarships to Northwestern, I explained, but they only covered about 40%. The rest was supposed to come from my college fund. Well, it's not too late to apply to other schools. Penn State has an excellent pre-med program, and with your grades, you could qualify for their merit scholarships. For the first time in weeks, I felt a tiny spark of hope. Maybe my dream of becoming a doctor wasn't completely dead. The next day, I returned home to find Mom at the kitchen table, surrounded by paperwork. I took out a home equity loan, she announced without preamble. It's not enough for Northwestern, but it might cover Penn State if you get some scholarships. I stood frozen in the doorway. You're putting your house at risk? Mom, that's crazy. What's crazy is letting my daughter's future slip away because of my mistake. She looked up at me, her expression raw with emotion. Morgan, I've been thinking about what you said. You're right. I've always put Haley's emergencies first, and it's not fair to you. I convinced myself I was doing the right thing, but I wasn't thinking about the long-term consequences. I sat down across from her, not ready to forgive, but willing to listen. Haley needs to learn to stand on her own, Mom continued. And you deserve the future I promised you. I can't get all your college fund back, but I'm going to do everything I can to make this right. That weekend, Mom did something even more unexpected. She called a family meeting, including Haley, Ryan, and the kids. I made a mistake, Mom announced to everyone. I took Morgan's college fund without her consent, and that was wrong. So we're going to make a plan to pay it back. Haley looked shocked. Mom, we can barely make rent as it is. I know it's hard, but Morgan deserves her education too. Ryan, I've found some job training programs that might help you qualify for better positions. And Haley, there are work-from-home options that might work with your condition. To my surprise, Haley didn't argue. She just looked at me with tears in her eyes. I'm sorry, Morgan. I never meant for this to happen. It was the first genuine apology I'd gotten from anyone, and something inside me softened slightly. December brought college application deadlines and a new reality. I spent my evenings applying to state schools and hunting for every scholarship I could find. My guidance counselor, Mrs. Reyes, became my biggest ally, staying late after school to help me navigate financial aid forms. Your essay is powerful, Morgan, she told me after reading my personal statement about family responsibility and sacrifice. Scholarship committees will be impressed by your resilience. I'd written honestly about my situation, how my college fund had been used to prevent my nieces and nephews from becoming homeless, and how that experience had shaped my understanding of family obligation and personal dreams. Mom kept her word about helping Haley become more independent. She watched the kids 2 evenings a week so Haley could attend online courses in medical billing, something she could do from home despite her health issues. Ryan started working overtime and weekends at a warehouse that paid better than Target, and every month, a small amount appeared in my new college account. $300 from Mom, $75 from Haley and Ryan. It wasn't much, but it was a start. In February, something unexpected happened. My biology teacher forwarded me an email about a prestigious scholarship at the University of Pennsylvania for students who demonstrated exceptional resilience in the face of family challenges. The deadline was in 3 days. I stayed up all night writing the application essay, pouring out everything, the betrayal, the anger, but also the complicated love I felt for my family despite everything. 6 weeks later, the impossible happened. I got the scholarship, full tuition at UPenn. When I called Mom at work to tell her, she screamed so loudly her coworkers thought something terrible had happened. That night, we had a small celebration dinner. Even Haley came, without the kids, bringing a cake she'd baked herself that said, UPenn Med School bound, in wobbly blue icing. I want you to know, she said quietly as we washed dishes after dinner, I'm going to pay back every cent. It might take years, but I will. I know, I replied, and was surprised to realize I meant it. The journey wasn't over. Trust, once broken, doesn't heal overnight. There were still days when resentment bubbled up, when I thought about the Northwestern acceptance letter still tucked in my drawer. But there were also new perspectives I couldn't have anticipated. My niece Lily, the 5-year-old who'd asked why I was so angry, crawled into my lap one afternoon while I was helping her with alphabet flashcards. Auntie Morgan, Mommy says you're going to be a doctor, she said, her small fingers tracing the letter D. I'm going to try, I explained. I need to go to college first, then medical school. She looked up at me with serious eyes. Will you be my doctor when I get sick? Something shifted inside me. I realized that while my path to becoming a doctor had become more complicated, I was still getting there. And maybe someday, I could help make sure Lily and her siblings had their own chances too. In May, just before graduation, Mom handed me an envelope. It's not much, she said nervously, but it's a start. Inside was a certificate for a 529 college savings plan with $6,000, her entire tax refund and bonus. I'm going to add to it every month, she promised. For medical school, maybe. Or whatever comes next. I hugged her tightly, feeling the weight of the past months begin to lift. That fall, as I moved into my UPenn dorm, I thought about the journey that had brought me there. Not the smooth path I'd planned, but a rocky, winding road that had taught me more about family, forgiveness, and resilience than any college course ever could. My roommate Aisha, unpacking her suitcase, asked the usual freshman question. So, was it always your dream to come to UPenn? I smiled, thinking about how to answer. No, I said finally. But sometimes life takes your original plan and tears it up. And then you have to decide whether to give up or create a new plan. And which did you do? She asked. I looked around at my new room, my new beginning. I'm still figuring that out. But I'm here, and that's what matters. That night, I texted Mom. Thank you for not giving up on my education. Her reply came seconds later. Never. I'm so proud of you, Morgan. Your journey is just beginning. And for the first time in almost a year, I felt the weight of betrayal lifting, replaced by something that felt surprisingly like hope.
Wow, what a journey, right? Morgan started with a dream college acceptance and a solid plan, only to have it all vanish in a single afternoon. But somehow, she found her way to UPenn through a scholarship specifically designed for students who faced family challenges, a path she might never have discovered otherwise. That, let's be real for a minute, Morgan's anger was completely justified. Her future was sacrificed without her consent. But her mother Andrea was facing an impossible choice. Let her grandchildren become homeless or break a promise to her younger daughter. There's no easy answer here. What makes this story so powerful is how Morgan eventually created a new path forward. As she told her roommate, "Sometimes life takes your original plan and tears it up. And then you have to decide whether to give up or create a new plan." That resilience is what ultimately landed her the scholarship. This doesn't excuse Andrea's decision to take Morgan's college fund without permission. Trust, once broken, takes serious work to rebuild. But the story shows how families can begin to heal even after devastating betrayals. Through honest communication, genuine apologies, and consistent efforts to make things right. So here's my question for you. What would you have done in this situation? If you were Morgan, could you forgive your mom? If you were Andrea, would you have made the same choice or found another solution? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm dying to hear what you think. If you've ever faced a similar family dilemma or had to rebuild trust after a betrayal, share your story too. Sometimes knowing we're not alone in our family struggles makes all the difference. Before you go, if this story hit you in the feels, smash that like button. Subscribe to Reddit Bit and hit the notification bell so you never miss our weekly doses of family drama, relationship chaos, and unexpected redemptions. Thanks for watching, and remember, even the most broken family bonds sometimes find surprising ways to heal. I'll see you in the comments.